From there you are coming to a preconscious area where an idea can be clothed with words. You get a language to express yourself. That is at the Vishuddhi. And then you come to a transactional level where you sit in command and you can express yourself with definite words and actions. Both the sensory organs and the organs of action are under the command of that area. In all this, the conveyor of your message, the message that is brought in and the message that is taken out are all by prana. So you decide that you will be hereafter using that prana as the main agent to discipline body and mind. To keep yourself in tune with the definition of prana and apana, the yogi imagines that he is taking the breath up from the base foundation, that is Mooladhara, to the Ajna. Just like he is drawing it up. Like that. The same way he takes it back to the Mooladhara from the Ajna. So this breath taking up and bringing it down. In our usual breathing, there is no pause, or the pause is almost negligent. So you can neglect it, very small. But the yogi, he says when the pause is increased, when once the intake is expelled, after the expulsion, that makes you more conscious of your breath. Suppose you breathe out and then hold it outside. Then there is a demand from the entire body for you to breathe. You have now taken over the mechanism of breathing from the control of the voluntary system of the medulla, the autonomous system of the medulla, to the voluntary system of your brain or cortex. Thus you are gaining a control over your system. You say, please wait. I shall supply you with the energy that you look for if you will learn to obey. Your body is keeping me too much under your tactics and pressures, but hereafter I want to treat you as belonging to me, not that I belong to you. Thus, the position of an enslaved mind is changed. The body is asked to behave. So I know that you need vital energy. I am the provider for that. So I will regulate it. In this particular case of breathing out, then holding it there, making the pause longer and longer, and then allowing the breath to come back into the system. This is symbolic. This by itself is not going to change you very much. The breath I told you is happening as some Vedana, sensation. And the same sensation, when it becomes reasoned out, the purpose of it is also assigned to it. It becomes thoughts. What is feeling at one level, at another level it is not just feeling, it becomes thought. A very classical example is given in the Bhagavad Gita, when Arjuna becomes suddenly confused. Certain physiological symptoms appear in him first, such as the slackening of his nervous system. His muscles suddenly became weak. He found it hard to hold aloft the bow of a warrior. It slipped away from his hand. The body failing, physical system failing because of a certain confusion. Then the body also feeling a tremor. Body trembles. And sweat formation comes. Body is heated. The skin feels parched, as if he is on fire. His mouth becomes parched. He cannot speak. Then he has giddiness. He feels that he may fall. After that, all these irrational, emotional upsurges finds a voice within to justify this. He looks into himself for a reason. Why am I behaving like this? Then he says, because I am about to commit an atrocity, a very sinful act. That is why my body is behaving like that. Thus from the physical symptoms we pass on to his rational mind. This is happening to all of us. So this incoming stimuli when there is nothing to check it, a free flow is allowed. You become like a tree standing in a storm. You are afflicted by the storm. You have no way of closing the channels through which there is an inflow, incoming of various stimuli. The Pranayama, when it says that you practice the stoppage of the incoming breath. This now you can practice at several levels. First, you are sitting in a place where there's a lot of noise, but you decide that you will give your full attention to, say, a mantra, for instance, which you are looking into, meditating on. Except that one, you wouldn't listen to any external sound. Here also you are keeping the prana that comes as a sensation through your ear outside. That is also pranayama. When a person makes a discrimination, I will listen only to valuable words, pleasing words, nourishing words, encouraging words, optimistic words. He is screening away many things which he shouldn't receive at all through his hearing. Many people do not know that is pranayama. The prana that comes in the form of a sound which you decipher as a meaning and then allow that meaning to take over your whole system, that is now seen how dangerous it can be, and you stop it. The person with greater concentration, he may not know, hear any sound that is outside. Just the very stoppage of the prana outside also means that you are no more a victim of the free flow of wind or energy. The second is about touch. In all our scriptures, importance is given to tactile experience. In fact, the duality of life begins with pain, with Sita and Dushna, hot and cold. So when there is heat outside or cold outside, we run to a safe place where you can make the heat change into cold or the cold change into heat with all kinds of devices. But if you mentally practice the heat and cold which we experience outside is disturbing, because you are contributing to the disturbance with your thoughts also, your fear also, your abhorrence also. If for 15 minutes you decide not to be afflicted with the psychological aspect of your distaste or hatred to heat or cold, then that duality leaves you. Here again, it is the wind that is bringing heat or cold. Tactuality is a main quality of air, and that wind you are restraining. By just keeping it outside, do not allow you to pass into you. Note that physically, the thermal quality of outside molecules won't pass into your body and make a conduction. It may. That is when you are so much materialistically influenced. But if you think that you are more than a body, more than a mind, more than a jiva, but the Supreme Spirit, you can bring in a new willpower. You can bring in a new presence of that which is not afflicted by heat and cold. A neutrality is established in the pressures that come from outside. Again, you are practicing pranayama, this time by not allowing the incoming data in the form of heat and cold. Not really just heat and cold, most of the pleasures of life, especially sexual pleasures, pleasures of fondling, or pleasures of harassment, not pleasures, but pains of harassment, are all coming tactually to us. An immunity established against it. We are told that when Ramana Maharshi at the age of 16, he came to the Arunachala temple, Tiruvannamalai, and he sat in the basement, in the dark corner of a basement. His mind has gone to Arunachaleshwar, or the call with which he came there, he responded to that. He lost his external consciousness, and then vermins were eating away his buttocks. The part of his buttocks was completely eaten away. After several days, when some lady went to the basement to clean the basement, she was horrified to see a ghost sitting there. So she shouted, "Ghost, ghost." People came with sticks and lanterns and all that, and saw this young boy sitting there. He was brought outside, but already part of his buttocks was eaten away by white ants or some vermin. So doctors attended to it. He was given bandage. Then he was put on a stool, and the ants were climbing up, still wanting to eat him because he had probably the smell of purified flesh. Then people had to put water underneath the stool so that the ants may not cross over. This complete lack of bodily experience is again preventing the tactuality that comes through the nerves in the form of prana. Then of course sight, that's the easiest. Just by dropping the lids of your eyes, this great, great world with its millions of stars and sun and moon and hills and dales and sky, and all this disappear in no time. This is the easiest. not looking at anything. But by not looking at anything, many karmas are avoided. There is a story that a certain boy somewhere in England was lying on a lawn near a road, and he was sleeping. He was holding in his hand some small bundle which looked like a money bundle. He was sleeping, fast asleep. Then there passed an old couple that way who had no children. And when they saw this beautiful boy sleeping there, the woman took pity upon him and said, "We have no son. Why don't we wake up this son and accept him, adopt him, and give all our belongings to him? Let him be a happy man." But the man cautioned, "No, we do not know who he is. He may have parents, and he may not come. Even if he comes, suppose he is a ruffian, and he may not give any peace to us. Why we take upon us this unnecessary burden?" So the woman agreed, and then the boss walked away. But this man did not know that a great fortune came to him, and it passed away. Then some burglar came that way. He saw this boy holding some money in his hand. So he took his knife. He thought, suppose I pull it out, and then this fellow wakes up and he shrieks. Before that, I should kill him, and only after killing him, I should take the money. So he took the dagger and looked around, and he saw some cart coming. Horse carriage was coming. So he bolted away. Like that, 10 incidents are given in the story where this man did not know anything, whether it was good thing coming to him or bad thing coming to him, or because his eyes were closed and he did not know anything that came there. So similarly, when we sit with our eyes closed, prana is stopped again outside, thus keeping our mind free of many external potentials of action. That is a greater pranayama than struggling with your breath. Struggling with your breath is more a prana pidana than a pranayama. Prana pidana means torturing your vital breath. Pranayama means controlling the inflow of your prana or vital energy. You use your vital energy for certain specific purposes and not for distractions. Now after this, we have the more important vital intake such as food. Mostly we take our food not for appeasing our hunger, but pleasing our palate. And pranayama works more there, better there than in any other field. Most of the things which pleases your tongue and pleases your olfactory, your nose, have no food value. They are only poisons. And many of those things only give a lot of unnecessary burden to your digestive system. Many of the diseases which we get We are eating our diseases into our system, and when once they are in and bring into you hosts of diseases, hard for expulsion. So before they come in, why not we stop them outside? We have made eating a socialized behavior. We are not eating for the need of it, but the pleasure of sharing it with others, and therefore, what is served on the plate, you have no courage to say, I don't want all that, or I don't want such and such items. You want to please your host or hostess, so you take it. Pranayama should come here. So this flow of energy is not good for me. I'm going to stop this. This much of fat, this much of fried things, this much of spices. This is not going to do me any good. So I'll stop it. So there again, pranayama comes by avoiding to take food. We somehow have some kind of a misconcept that the quantity of food that we gulp down, that is going to give us energy or strength, and that is going to build our body or give us longevity. This is not so. Young children, small children, they have a natural appetite. But parents kill their natural appetite by hand feeding and putting into their mouth things which they do not want to take in. By just one look at the face of a child, you can see what a terrible thing is happening to the child at the food taking time, meal time. Especially when the mother or father or grandfather is forcing them to eat a certain item which they do not like. There is something called Agni Manyam. That means the fire of digestion is doused. When the fire of digestion is doused and you are only pushing it down the throat, you are doing a terrible thing, especially to a child. And when an old person, in the old age, they need only a certain amount of energy that should go to them to keep their main prana function, because physically they are not moving about much, and the fuel that they require is very little. Not knowing that, if you make them eat so many things and so many items, instead of doing good, you are doing a great torture to them. In our own case, if you use this discrimination, I think pranayama is better practiced at the table than anywhere else. Think of your faculties. Every drop of oil that is going into you are to be seeped through your liver, your kidney. And suppose you are going on putting so many rubbish into your bathroom or drainage, wherever it gets clogged, and then thereafter it won't pass that way. Then decay sets in. So our bodily decay is mainly because of our overburdening our faculties with things which it cannot easily digest. They cannot easily digest, accept. Write all the items that you eat and think of the needs of your body which are fulfilled by these items and relate them to the various, say, this is good to see, therefore I eat. This is, I am asked to eat by such and such a voice and I want to please that voice and therefore I eat. This is good to see and therefore I eat. This is good to taste, therefore I eat. This is good to smell, therefore I eat. And then also think of the quantities. In some families we go as a guest, they have tiny small cups and they give us one small cup of tea and that's all. You are afraid to ask for another cup. In another house we go, they give you a tall cup filled to the brim. You don't need that much. But you are afraid to say, I don't drink all this. Just out of courtesy. In one place you do not take and in another place you overtake. Take too much. Why not we bring a moderation in this? Have a proper idea of the exact amount that you need for keeping up your body. And also think of the physical energy, the fuel that require for a certain work to be done. And they have to be in proportion. And if you do much work and do not take enough food, you take too much food and you do not enough work, there is an imbalance. Finding out the balance and moderating it is the best pranayama you can practice at the level of eating. Sometimes very difficult nowadays to get into an aeroplane or a train, especially first class compartments, and where good guests come from sophisticated families, affluent families, because they douse their bodies with all kinds of perfumes. And you think these perfumes are very wonderful things. It was once. Once when people were using sandal paste or kasturi or something, these perfumes probably serve some good purpose. But some of the perfumes now which we use are an exaggerated form of a cat's urine. Its smell is not very different from that of a cat's urine. But we are now taught by the advertisers that this is the best perfume which you should use. Why do we fill our atmosphere with so much of bad odor? Your body odor may be not very pleasant, but by dousing this, your body odor never leaves you. You are putting one poison with another poison, and so you are doubly poisoning the atmosphere. Again, pranayama for you and for others also can be practiced if you don't use these terrible smelling things on your dress, on your body. So now look how you can practice pranayama all the time in your life and how much beneficial it will be. So this purificatory aspect which is done through pranayama as tapasya is so very important. And we have two kinds of education. An education which comes from an insight into your well-being and an information that you receive from outside and then hoard those informations. When you are told that a certain library has 20,000 books, you are impressed by that. But out of the 20,000 books, 18,000 may be rubbish. Maybe some pornography or funny story or something. Another library has only 3,000 books, but selected books, which have come from the finest thoughts of the best men of the world. What does it matter if the numbers are less? That's not going to harm you. Similarly, the acquisition of information that you get from people which only mislead you, which gives you perplexion, that is not knowledge. Again, pranayama can be applied here, but to restrain the inflow of unnecessary information which only clutters your mind. That's another beautiful way of restraining. So the restraint of breath means the restraint of all incoming energies, the restraint of all incoming factors into your body and mind and spirit. And this is called Nirodha. The Jains have a wonderful idea of keeping oneself spiritually alert and alive. They say the pouring in of all kinds of karma or karmic tendencies is like a downpour of rain on a cotton bale. Suppose you have a mass of cotton wool and it becomes wet. Every day more and more water comes and it is wet. And it even loses the quality of cotton. Suppose you wring out the water from it. There is an expulsion of water from it. Then you put around it a shield that no more water is coming into it. First is this expulsion. Second is this nirodha, restraint from more karma coming into you. And then there comes warming away whatever vapor is already in the cotton. And then the fibers expand and they become more free, get into the akasha or the space around. When more and more space is there, it is no more hard. It is capable of raising itself from the ground. Then it can fly up into the sky. And finally, when each fiber is so loosely strung, the cotton wool becomes like a massive cloud. So a Tirthankara is considered to be a person from whom all the karmic tendencies are wrung out, who has become evanescent, one with the world, and you can easily float. The same is expected of us by applying pranayama in its widest possible nature, then you take a more positive step. All these are already said, how you can have a clean life. But the clean life should have a purpose. What is the purpose of your clean life? Quite to realize your own self. Realization of the self, many think that it is some kind of a private affair, where you look into you somewhere and you get a great light or some kind of ecstatic experience and sit there as if you are drunk. Not that. The world which you see and you and the cause of this world are all the same. When the beauty, truth, and absolute value of that out of which all this has emanated is seen everywhere, in you, outside, in everywhere, in everything, every passing moment becomes so real to you. You see, moments are coming to you, wanting to be greeted by you, and then with your envisioning of the most beautiful in the given time. If you are incapable of envisioning, if you are incapable of filling the moment with the joy of life, not just one personal pleasure, but the joy that you can share with the entire humankind, all sentient beings, then you are moving towards Ishvara in this moment itself. So after the purificatory function, you are making an assessment of what you know about yourself and what you know of your absolute cause or the origin of you. And the present consequential aspect of you and the first cause are intimately related. You experience the intimation of life too. This is what Wordsworth calls the intimation of immortality. So this intimation of immortality which you experience every moment by knowing who you are and where you are from, that gives you the Swadhisthana. The Swadhyaya. One step further. This is a temporary arrangement. Tomorrow you may quit this and take another instrument like that. This is to be cared for until you get another one or you do not need anymore. But then looking into the essential, the original, the unfading, the everlasting, that is true knowledge. So there is a phenomenological information, there is a causal knowledge, there is a true knowledge. Passing from the phenomenality to the noumenal, that is the great search. And that is the great pilgrimage we take in this world. So these three principles, purificatory aspect, self-study, and acceptance of the Supreme, understanding and having a true insight, true knowledge of it. That changes your will. It is no more the will of a feeble person who is entrenched in this body. What is entrenched here is released. Body is still used. Bird is still used. Many informations are still of use. But you are not victimized by that. So this is the essence of the entry into what we call the Kriya Yoga. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.